Number one in the chat, it's your boy, Snowmo Bro. We were watching some gameplay. Welcome back, Xeon Neuronics. Wow, what a name. We're watching gameplay from the PS2 game Bassmaster Fishing, listening to the absolutely brilliant and delicious Rivermaster, the Angler's Dream. Direct vinyl rip there. Make sure you're checking it out. Go buy the vinyl. You know, makes you feel like a fish. Oh, Bassmaster games rule, dude. The Super Nintendo ones especially, but there's some real gems on the PS1 and PS2 fishing games. There's a lot of slop. It's like 50-50. There's some fishing games that'll bore you to tears. But no, big props to the Rivermaster here. Angler's Dream vinyl. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. Well, hope you enjoyed that, because the world's a fucking nightmare, and that's what the stream reflects. Welcome to the motherfucking News Underground, motherfuckers. Could you please do the thank you? Welcome to the motherfucking nightmare. Hope you had a good week. Because there's some motherfuckers on this planet who did not have a good week. I am Abandoned Nihilism. This is the News Underground. I am the realest motherfucker on Twitch. I just need to remind you, we're in politics for a reason. We're not in just jacking off like the so-called number one leftist streamer on this platform. My flaccid dick, Hassan's the number one leftist on this motherfucker. Like to remind you, you are currently embroiled in a war against your liberties and freedom, and there's only one solution. You know, I don't have good news for you in terms of like easy solution, right? Oh, I got the magic button, I got the genie in the bottle. Sorry, Christina Aguilera isn't here, boys. We're gonna have to get dirty with something called political activism. Non-violent, direct political action. And the best way to do that is to head on over to the BLOP, theblop.org. There's the link. Look at that. I put the link in the fucking chat for you. Motherfucking blop.org, the big list of protests. It's a 3-step program to create political change. Step 1, we inform ourselves, and that's what we're going to do today. Exhaustively. Exhaustively. If you stick around the whole stream, you will be exhausted. That's step 1. Step 2, we show up. Sign up, show up. And step 3, we put in the work like Charlie Kirk. Because while you're sleeping, the fascists are plotting. Okay? While you're enjoying your life, the fascists are trying to destroy it and dismantle it. There is a concentrated, well-funded effort to destroy your life happening right now. So get your motherfucking ass over to the big list of protests and show up. And also, once again, we have to spread lies like the right wing. Here's the thing about protests. It's nonstop sex. I swear to God. Right? I'm a married man. I can't be going to these protests all the time. I go, right? But I can't be going all the time because it is nonstop sex. I swear to God, I have to wear 2 pairs of pants. They just rip them off my body. Okay? Guaranteed wet, sloppy sex at the protest. Make sure you show up. Okay, we got to spread lies like the right wing too, okay? But nobody said our lies have to not be fun, okay? We can spread fun lies, right? Oh, no, the kids are shitting in litter boxes. That's not fun. How about the guaranteed you're going to get laid at the protest lie? That's a good one. That's a fun one. That's a lefty lie. And hey, you know, sometimes it's true. I met several girlfriends when I was a young man at various protests, you know. You know me, social fella, chatting up the ladies. Okay? You gotta buy my six episode course. It's gonna cost you $400. I'll teach you how to be an alpha male. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do something fun today. We're gonna be covering Gaza, the Big Beautiful Bill, Hell World, Liberty, Supreme Court, aka Scrotus, World News, South Africa, and Ukraine. Okay. So how are we going to select this subject? How are we going to do this? How? Boom. We're going to pick a grotesque nightmare with a game show gimmick. All right, boy. Christy Gnomes. She's in the Liberty section. You can guess why. All right, so I guess Mr. Line knows which one he, she, they want. They want the Liberty. Here we go. Make sure you call out the one you want in the chat. Here we go, folks. Here we go. I need a better carnival. We're going to do this song anyway because it's the only one I got on my Steam Deck. Woo! We're spinning. Stop the horny. Oh, yeah. It is the BBC. It's that big... Can't finish that. No. BBB. The Big Beautiful Bill. The Big Beautiful Bill. Trillions of dollars of tax cuts. Raising the deficit to untold, never. Some of this stuff is historic. Cutting Medicaid. It's going to kick off hundreds of thousands of people from Medicaid. It's the BBB. Sorry, that's obnoxious. 1 second here. No. Just need to go to my where the fuck. Wait, wrong one. Sorry. Okay. BBB, bitch. I remember America. I remember this concept of an idea. Concept of an experiment, right? Oh, I was going to play this at the start of the stream and then I didn't. All right, we'll have to do that later. Sorry. Wait, I opened up the Gaza tab. Wrong one. No, that's just a bunch of screaming kids and nightmares. You just keep that one closed, okay? So I felt like I just opened up a Beetlejuice closet. There's like a fucking dead, sixth sense dead kid over just staring at me from the closet. Probably shouldn't joke about dead kids. It's probably not. Probably shouldn't do that. All right. BBB, Big Beautiful Bill. Look, if we're just recapping here basically. So if you haven't been keeping up with the news, it's a big fucking ripoff, massive fucking tax cut. Yeah, VO3. Student debt. Shit's scary. Just to give you a little sample of what he's talking about, folks. Look at this shit. Okay. It's fucking AI, man. It's crazy. Right? It's not there quite yet, but it's getting damn close, dude. Whoa, look at the hands. Whoa, holy shit. Whoa, dude. Whoa. Whoa. Holy shit. She's a fucking cryptid. She's a fucking lizard person, dog. What the fuck? Holy shit, man. Did she literally just got her husband declared divorce. She's like just holding it all in. She can barely hold it together. With highly opinionated game show hosts for more entertainment. Bored beyond belief. More like bend over and get bent with a big blunt object. There we go. Vocabulary. Rep Ro Khanna just now. So, Ro Khanna, real quick, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's a capitulator. I think he's a game player. I think he, uses the language, BB's big butt. Okay, do I need to put it in here? I do, don't I? Because some people actually don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, actually. All right, hold on. Yeah, hold on. I got to make sure. I always have the hardest time spelling beautiful because I'm an idiot. And go ahead and laugh at me. Feel free. It's all right. It's fine. It's pathetic. You should. My ability to spell is pathetic. Yeah, and I deserve to be laughed at. It's okay. All right. Okay. My ego, I threw my ego in the trash, and then you know, it's gone. No, it's there, of course. Are you kidding me? I put a camera in front of my face and hit start stream, and I claim I don't have an ego? Please. Anyway, not the biggest fan of Ro Khanna. Like I said, capitulator, game player, often cloaks himself, you know, in the language of progressivism, while basically going along with the neoliberal agenda. I've disagreed with him so many times. With that said, the bar is quite fucking low. And if the party was a bunch of Ro Khannas, we probably wouldn't be in this position, right? He still has a portion of his spine remaining. He's not like a flippy floppy Nancy Pelosi type, right? But anyway, he kind of laid out 5 top things in this big beautiful bill, and it's a fucking nightmare. So I thought I'd show it.
Last night, as Americans slept, House Democrats were on the floor.
Yeah, they passed at like 4 a.m.
all night of Congress trying to block the Republican budget bill. We did not succeed. Here are 5 things that this bill will do that will really hurt ordinary people. First, over $700 billion of cuts in Medicaid, taking health insurance away from millions, including children, and $500 billion of cuts to Medicare, taking health care away from seniors because of mandated automatic pay-go required cuts.
So if you're panicking right now, it passed in the House. It has not passed in the Senate yet. But, I mean, this gives you an idea of what they're going for. They're going straight for the neck. Will it pass in the Senate? There's a good chance it will, because we live in a nightmare. And the only way to stop it is to wake up from our dreams and get active, right? You know, you don't want to march. You don't want to be out in public. You got to do something. Donate. Okay? Or send, you know, something, for the love of God, right? Everybody doing something will give us some results. Not even everybody. Like, if we could get like 30% of the people who are left leaning in this country to actively make political activism a lifestyle, we could have big results. I kid you not. I mean, it's not like we need a miracle, you know.
Second, there is a moratorium for 10 years on any state having any legislation about AI. No legislation to protect kids from algorithms. No legislation allowed to protect.
No, the right wing want to teach our kids with AI. They want to fully just go nuts, go nuts. Oh, great, we can fire all the teachers and remove that political base from the left. Let's go. I don't have time to show you, but there's all kinds of evidence. I mean, we're already seeing college professors being replaced by AI. Madness. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Society. I mean, this would be like, you know, Walkman, you know, like some new technology comes out and literally everybody, you know, is now doing this. I mean, this is kind of like, this is bigger than the television AI, you know, this is bigger than fucking the radio. It's just maybe not as big as the radio. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Like the AI is changing society so rapidly, so frighteningly fast. I don't think people are really quite understanding what the hell is even happening.
Truck drivers from having their jobs automated. Third, there are devastating cuts to food stamps.
Loving the alliterations.
Over $300 billion of cuts to those who need food stamps. Nearly 16 million American children need food stamps.
No, the only cuts to defense were generals that want to stand up for the Constitution and their oath. Those are the only entities that have been cut. The people that actually believe in what they, you know, the oath that they took. Pete Hegseth, that's his number one priority, is get in there, make sure any dissenters immediately removed. And did they say anything? Did they do anything? No, they just left quietly. And look, I get it, you know, but I also am ashamed how easily these Pete Hegseth, you know, how easily these completely mediocre bitch boys, let's be frank, emotional, right, wrecks, you know, these children in man-sized bodies, just rolling over these institutions that have fallen the fuck asleep. You know, all these institutions getting killed in their fucking beds. before they even have a chance to activate. Project 2025 just completely unimpeded. It's shameful. It's shameful. You know, I really there was this idea that America's institutions were strong, and there's no indication of that whatsoever. Big bouncy balls, big bouncy balls,
Bitch.
big bouncy balls.
Fourth, huge tax breaks to the millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah,
if you
good
make
guy,
over $1
Dari.
million, you get $82,000
It's not gonna work,
in
but
tax breaks. How do
They're
you do
doing
if
it.
you make under
Yeah.
100,000?
Yeah, massive tax breaks for the wealthy, not for the middle class. You know, not for the middle class. One more time, Ro.
To the millionaires and billionaires. If you make over $1 million, you get $82,000 in tax breaks. How do you do if you make under 100,000? Only $750 of tax breaks. And by the way, independent analysis
Not
says
for long,
that
Mr.
you
Line.
actually will be
Not for long.
paying $700 more if you're between $50,000 and $70,000 when you lose and factor in your loss of federal benefits. Finally, the bill takes away tax credits for clean energy, eliminates the electric vehicle tax credit. It stops any solar, wind, geothermal tax credit after 60
Ridiculous.
days.
What? Because it's woke, and it's like it doesn't even like you can make a lot of money off this shit. It's just ignorance. It's just literally ignorance.
The project hasn't started. This bill hurts seniors, takes away health insurance, hurts those who
The birds. What about the birds? Okay, I remember Trump with the windmills. Yeah. I went to Michigan. It's funny, the anti-windmill activism in Michigan. I will say it does change. It's weird, you know, like driving through Michigan as I did my whole life, you know, growing up, and driving through it now. It's weird because the scenery is now dotted with windmills everywhere. Every farmer that knew, you know, that understood the logic of it is installing windmills, and it does make things look different, but it's, you know, they didn't even bother putting fences on some of these. I just drove up to one, and it's amazing. It's awe-inspiring. The fucking blade coming around, whoosh, you can hear it. It's something else. But I do admit, you know, like it is a decision that needs to be made, you know, democratically, because it does affect everybody in terms of how it literally changes the skyline in some cases, not everywhere, right? But yeah, there's a reason, you know, farmers are like, hell yeah, because they could reduce their energy consumption costs by half, you know, and it's not cheap to run a farm. You know, you got to there's all kinds of machinery. You got to keep running 24/7.
who need food stamps, stops states from keeping us safe from AI, and rolls
Don
back
Quixote
investments
moment.
in our clean tech future.
Oh, you should have seen it. It's amazing. Yeah, blah, blah. So you get it. So they cut a lot. No, you should have seen these Michigan anti-windmill signs. Let's see if we can see any in the images here. Yeah. So this shit was all over the place in Michigan. No more. Too tall, too close, too loud. And it's like you don't even hear them. You literally don't even hear them unless you're like right up there. Okay, please stop. But yeah, too tall, too close, too loud. Oh, so scary, so scary. Oh, it's amazing. No giant wind turbines here. Make sure you show up to the protest, folks. Way too tall, close, and loud. So loud. Whoa. And we're talking about people who don't own farms. We're putting these signs to try to force farmers to not do stuff, you know, like it's the exact opposite, right? Of, you know, it's my land. I can do whatever I want with my land, right? No, and all these right wingers are like, well, you can't do that. I don't like that. You're not allowed to do that. Oh, wind farm here? No, somebody stop it. Stop the spin. Say no to wind. Oh, he nailed that one, folks. I mean, he nailed that one. I mean, come on. Give him credit. Give him credit. Okay, we got to stop the spin. Say no to wind. Yeah, I don't trust that liberal woke. That liberal woke wind. Wind concerns. If I was living here, I'd show up at a protest on a donkey with a lance. wearing a rusty armored suit. I'm sure someone's done it. I mean, that reference is too juicy not to do it. Yeah, so anyway, sorry, we kind of deviated there, but I had to show you that. Back to the big beautiful bill. We're going to get more of these details here. I'm sick and tired of seeing Ro Khanna. Hey, let's switch it up and see something even more disgusting. Oh, look, it's a pile of puke. Oh, look, it's a pile of poop. Oh, which one will I stare at? Which one will I look at? Let's go ahead and turn our attention to the poop. I think we've gotten a good look at the puke. They're going to say no to the wind when the Twister takes their house away. Well, if you would stop having so much gay sex, Simply Steve, maybe the tornadoes wouldn't have come down at Jesus's behest. So maybe you should chill it out there. Stop with the horny, okay? Gay sex having Simply Steve having so much gay sex. So even Rand Paul is like, I'm sorry, a bill that increases the debt by a historic amount, by more than the most rapacious right-wing, fantasy has ever done. I'm sorry, I'm not going to call that bill, like fiscally sound, because Donald Trump is like, it's the most fiscally sound. It makes everything makes perfect sense. Everything's paid for right now. He says all these incredibly ridiculous lies. And Rand Paul's like, okay, look, I'm down with the fascism. I'm down with the racism. I think that's really great. It's really awesome the way that we're treating brown people and the way that we're letting corporations do whatever they want. But hard to sell these Medicaid cuts to my constituency. Ironically, he Rand Paul, as a libertarian, he probably wants to completely eliminate Medicaid, but I don't know how else he wants to do it. I guess he wants to do it in a magical way where it doesn't hurt his politics.
The House bill is going to add about $4 trillion to the debt ceiling. The Senate bill adds $5 trillion. There's nothing fiscally conservative about expanding the debt ceiling more than we've ever done it.
Would they prefer a coal power plant? I mean, yeah, unironically, yeah. Yeah. We got it's clean coal, Ponder Monkey, it's clean coal. So anyway, even right-wingers, some right-wingers, there's like 3 or 4. Cenk Uygur is convinced that there's a good chunk of the Republican Party that'll stand against MAGA, specifically against Israel. I don't know. I'm not so convinced, Cenk. Yeah, I think there's definitely a couple, standing up against Israel especially. But in terms of this shit, there's like 2 or 3. Massey and this one, I think one other. I put this is kind of a mix of world news and Hell World and Big Beautiful Bill, kind of related. But he's over here threatening tariffs against the EU. And he's still like, look, people need to get this through their head. Not you in the chat, because everyone in the chat's amazing. They understand what the hell's going on here. But everyone else in the goddamn world needs to get it through their thick skull that Donald Trump thinks tariffs are the magic money machine. Okay, I know, and I keep saying it if you've seen this stream before. But that's what he thinks. He thinks they're magic money machines. And it's like, for him, it's common sense. Why don't we do this? It's like free money. Everyone wants to do business with us. And to do business with us, you got to pay a little fee. And if you want to pay less fees, you build the stuff that you want to sell in the country. Everything makes perfect sense to me. He legitimately believes this. And he has, surrounded himself with people who are cowards, like Bessett. But everyone in his orbit are cowards. And I'm sure they've tried. Oh my God, look, everyone's still talking about the BBB. You horny motherfuckers. Anyway, let's get to the goddamn clip. It's an embarrassment. So this is him threatening the EU with 50% tariffs, 75% tariffs, 200% tariffs. You never know what my pig ass will do. I don't know. I look like a little piggy with my little eyes. Little piggy.
Mr. President, you are a deal maker, deal breaker. What are you hoping to achieve with a 50?
Sorry. So this reporter's actually being a little spicy. I think she's British.
Mr. President, you are a deal maker, deal breaker. What are you hoping to achieve with a 50% tariffs on the?
Well, I think this is there is no tariff, because what they'll do is they'll send their companies into the U.S. and build their plant.
So interesting. I want to talk about this more, but he's in his own stupid way, because he's so fucking dumb. He's actually acknowledging that tariffs are bad. He's done this twice now.
We have
one more time.
There is no tariff because what they'll do is they'll send their companies into the U.S. and build their plant. You know, we have, I guess, over $12 trillion practically committed.
Right. Think about the stuff that you want to buy from the UK, right? Very uniquely British stuff a lot of the time, right? You know, there's, you know, like the whole idea that these industries are going to uproot themselves and plop themselves down in the United States. And they're going to do it quickly. Like, you know, I've made this comparison before, but like StarCraft, right? How you can just move your bases around, a whole building just lifts up, floats on over. I mean, it's ludicrous. I mean, it's madness. And the whole idea that the entire financial world isn't saying that in unison really says everything about the oligarchy, moneyed individuals, and their propensity, their desire for fascism, for authoritarianism, what they're willing to put up with, right, to get their fascist dictatorship in there. And I think a lot of these market guys, a lot of these smart oligarchs are waiting very patiently and carefully for him to die and for J.D. Vance to take over, and then the real orgy of pain begins. Anyway, let's start a little bit early.
Over $12 trillion practically committed. You look at other presidents, they haven't had $1 trillion for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. We have numbers. Nobody's ever seen numbers like we have. And if they build their plant here, then they have no tariff at all.
Are you looking for a
And once again, totally ludicrous. And he treats it like it's, what are we talking about? Simple common sense.
deal in 9 days? Will you be able to do that, sir?
I'm not looking for a deal. I mean, we've set the deal. It's at 50%. But
Amazing.
Again, there is no tariff if they build their plant here. Now,
and this, you know, look, if you're an accelerationist, you're jumping for joy. You know, if you're a person that's like, people need to feel pain before they're going to do anything about this, you're doing backflips. Because what does this say? Like, this guy, you know, he's doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down, and the market is like, oh, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna look. He did a 90-day delay. Look, he did this, he did that. They're eventually, these fascists and psychopaths that are in the market will just be like, okay, dump. Okay, this madness will never end. Like, they can't take years of this. They can't take three more years of this constant, totally unsure what the fucking, you know, trade is going to be, what the number is going to be, no consistency. And like, there's some sociopaths, you know, psychopaths there that really like that can make a lot of money, you know, with the number going, you know, crazy like this. But you know, when it comes to running a business, ask anybody that's had to run a business. It's ludicrous. You know, it's like, oh, just give up, just sell it, dump it, get out of this, you know, chaotic, you know, world. And you betcha this is going to lead to the Amazons, the Walmarts, the big ones just swallowing up massive swaths of businesses that can't handle this volatility. It's fucking crazy, man. It's the craziest stress test ever done to the neoliberal economic system. It's never, and it's what's amazing to me, like I've said before, is the psychopaths that are kind of like, oh man, it'd be really great if Trump wasn't totally insane with this tariff stuff, because we'd be, you know, living high off the hog, massive tax cuts, cutting all the social, you know, all the social stuff that they think is going to somehow benefit them, even though it directly benefits their companies. In fact, you have Walmart's, and you know, a good portion of their way that they compensate employees is by underpaying them so that they qualify for the government benefits. And then the owners of Walmart lobby the government to kill those benefits. I guess they just, you know, the Waltons are just like, no, work until you die. If you're sick, we'll fire you and get some other prole to take your place. And it just goes on like that. How about this liar, huh? The Blop. How am I posting this stuff? What the hell? Oh, it was just super late on Kick. I was like, whoa, how am I didn't post anything in Kick. What the hell is happening? That was from like 15 minutes ago. Kick over here. God damn.
Obama.
Yeah, thank you, Kick. Anyway, how about this liar, huh? She's in her 20s. You know, that's why she looks like slightly attractive, but in like a weird, like Christian way. Anyway, I've never seen this before in America. Like, you know, we had Jen Psaki, we had the Trump's first term where he just like he had a couple embarrassments that tried it out, and then he just stopped doing it. Remember that? He just like for like 2 years there was officially they hired somebody, but they just stopped getting in front of the press. Period. They just stopped doing interviews and stopped telling the press what they were doing. But I've never seen anything like this. This you know, North Korea, right? The comparisons are very apt. You know, this person is a proud propagandist. You know, and it's like you know, for a lot of people living in America, they actually can't comprehend an American being this disgustingly callous, being this disgustingly biased, willing to say anything, willing to defend anything from the administration, anything. Blatant corruption, you know, up and to the point. If Donald Trump, you know, started raping people, this woman would get in front of a camera and make a defense for it, without a doubt. Shamelessness to a level I don't think Americans, and quite frankly, I know Americans are not prepared to handle. Our democracy was not built to handle this kind of criminality, this kind of shamelessness.
Follow-up. Is the president okay with this bill adding to the deficit?
This bill does not add to the deficit.
Lie. That's a lie.
In fact, according to the Council of Economic Advisors,
I don't know what the Council of Economic Advisors is, but it's obviously something that they have control of. You know, it's obviously something that's going to be something friendly. They're going to make this happens in the UK. This happens in Canada. By the way, liberal and right wing will, you know, have control over a, you know, analysis group, and their numbers are correct. Oh yeah, their analysis of our budget's correct. It's gonna give you rainbows, literally rainbows, and it's gonna take away the cancer from your father. That's what our agency has said about our budget. Yep, it's amazing. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good. Then of course, when it comes out, it's
this bill will save $1.6 trillion, and the president absolutely understands and hears the concerns of fiscal conservatives.
I mean, like Rand Paul said, like $5 to $7 trillion in debt.
Americans who want to get our fiscal house in order.
And if you're like, well, who cares? The debt directly affects the value of the dollar. The dollar is already under other stresses, of course, from Trump's economic plans, but not just that. It will increase inflation. It's not good. It's not good to have runaway debt in the number of trillions.
That's what the intention of the.
Oh, also the bond market's being assaulted for good reason. It's a toxic mixture that will lead to Americans. They really don't get it. I mean, trust me, when you leave America and you're no longer making American dollars and you're spending American dollars in the global economy, it fucking blows, dude. It blows. Shipping's 3 times as expensive. Your money doesn't go nearly as far. I used to order stuff online all day, every day. No problem. Yep, ship it over. What? Oh, $2 shipping? Come on, bring it on over. Now it's $25 shipping, $35 shipping. I kid you not, dude. Wrong button. Kid you not. Anyway, that's how it's going to hit regular Americans. That's what I'm getting at. Is, you know, this idea that the government can rack up an incredible amount of debt, and it's just like, whatever, it's just a bunch of corrupt motherfuckers doing whatever they want and doesn't really get to me. No, it actually like literally directly affects you. It makes literally everything that you spend your money on more expensive.
This bill is. There's $1.6 trillion worth of savings in this bill. That's the largest savings for any legislation that has ever passed Capitol Hill in our nation's history.
Blatant lie. I mean, just blatant, overt lie.
The next bill that even comes close was $800 billion. That's less than half of the savings that we see in the One Big Beautiful Bill. And so the goal of this bill is to produce economic growth, to cut taxes, and to get our fiscal house in order. And this is the right step in the right direction towards doing.
Right. It is not. Would you believe that it is not? And their concept of like economic stimulus is cutting taxes, because they're like, well, look, all this money that Jeff Bezos is going to put in his pocket, put in a bank account, put on his pile, all this money that he's going to put in his fucking who's that dragon? The gold with the Lord of the Ring dragon? Going to put in his Gollum? No, that's the other one. You know what I'm talking about. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to take that money and they're going to put it on their fucking gold pile and then protect it like a dragon from Lord of the Rings. You know which one. Mika over here, Mika Efren, you have a very strange definition of quote-unquote middle class, and this is responding to Stephen Miller saying, every single Democrat just voted against the largest middle-class tax cut in history. It's the biggest middle-class tax cut in history. And then we look at the numbers, and so the middle class gets $845 in tax cuts. Fourth quintile, 80 to 90%, 90 to 95%, 95 to 99, 99.99. Top 0.1 getting the fucking donger, guys. Okay, the donger. We're talking several thousand individuals. Does Donald Trump technically even qualify for this bracket yet? Has he stolen enough money to get him into this bracket? Because he was one of these guys. He was one of these like 80 to 90%, 90 to 95% poser billionaires. There was good evidence to show that the motherfucker had more debt than he had money. So is he even in the donger category over here? Look at this goddamn thing. Jesus. 389.3K. 4.3 million. Biggest tax cut in history, guys. The real question is, will America ever care about being lied to again? Or is the both sidesism, everyone lies, this is all normal, nothing we can do about it, nihilism? Is that just, that's going to be our final message? That's going to be the final message of our democratic experiment, We're going to build a big, beautiful golden dome. So I put this in the big, beautiful bill category because it's $175 fucking billion, dude. And they're all like, we're doging it up and we're about taking down the swamp and we're about cut. Oh, $175 billion massive military completely pointless military project that I get to call golden. Sign me up. Woo! Woo! It's only $175 billion. And really, what's the whole idea here? That we've become the world has become so dangerous that it necessitates a massive missile defense system. I mean, if we are installing this with the idea that we might have to use it, we might be heading in the wrong fucking direction, folks. Because let me tell you something. This ain't going to save your ass. This ain't going to save your ass. Say the fucking missiles are stopped, right? You're living in Seattle and the fucking Golden Dome saves your ass. You still got food, water, and a couple million other people who want to tear you apart for everything that you own. Okay? If we're talking about a total war scenario where we have a Golden Dome protecting our country from fucking incoming missiles, this isn't like an Israeli situation, okay? That means World War fucking III, okay? And we're going to have bigger fucking fish to fry. We'll be like, man, I wish I was kind of annihilated in that initial missile barrage because now I'm, choking my neighbor out for a fucking, couple gallons of fuel. So I can run to the woods and maybe avoid nuclear apocalypse. Hopefully the Golden Dome will buy me some time. Okay? Not only is it an incredible waste of money that probably won't even, let's be real, it'll be like The Wall, where it gets like 0.25% done and Steve Bannon ends up with millions of dollars in his pocket somehow. But even then, if we need this, if we're using this, oh, we're McFucked. What are we even talking about? This is World War III scenario. Big golden dome, we're going to take over the world. Anyone tries to attack us, they can't do it. Doesn't work like that. Okay? Because, you know, look, we've seen it in Ukraine. We're seeing it right now. When we get to the Ukraine section, Russia attacking a capital, they can shoot down a couple, right? But you can't shoot them all down. And if we're in a situation where we're getting this kind of ordinance fired at us, this is, you know, we got bigger problems than the Golden Dome, okay? This is historic. U.S. credit rating downgraded by Moody's for the first time in modern history. So, I mean, it's, you know, Moody's is downgraded before the U.S. credit rating. But, I mean, this is within months of his economic changes. This comes as Republicans are preparing to add trillions to the debt to give more tax cuts to billionaires, which will hurt our credit rating even more. It's just like what happened with Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng. Gave the rich everything, and immediately, boo, economy. Whoa, don't give me everything. I'm a sociopath. What are you doing? I'm an arsonist. Please don't hand me gas. Okay? I'm a drug addict. Please don't hand me drugs. No. The way that we fix your drug addiction is by giving you all the heroin you've ever wanted, ever, forever. I don't know if that's going to work, man. Yeah, but we're going to try it anyway. Okay, I mean, I'm addicted to heroin. I'll take the heroin, but I must advise against this. Oh, by the way, did you know the Big Beautiful Bill basically solidifies Donald Trump as a fucking king? Did you know that? Slip that one in there. Bunch of legalese, but basically it says he can completely defy the courts. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. Hidden provision in Trump's big bill could disarm U.S. Supreme Court. A provision hidden in the sweeping budget bill that passed the U.S. House on Thursday seeks to limit the ability of courts, including the U.S. Supreme Court, from enforcing their orders. Yeah, because they're doing such a great job already. Donald Trump really doesn't need to do any more to secure power. He's got the top cop. They're not doing anything. The marshals aren't doing anything. Nobody. He's already defied the Supreme Court, Attorney General. Sorry, AG, top cop. But he's got completely politicized the AG. Oh, I love Donald Trump. I literally fantasize about his ball sack. Literally, it's amazing. I promised the world that he was going to politicize the AG while criticizing Biden for politicizing the AG. And meanwhile, the entire world was really wanting Joe Biden to politicize the AG. So, but this is just the cherry on top where it's like, no, legally you can't enforce it. Like right now, technically there needs to be enforcement that isn't happening, right? But that's not good enough for this dictator. It's like, no, legally I'm above the law. And we're seeing Marco Rubio make the same. I think I have it here somewhere. One of these, maybe in Liberty, where Marco Rubio is like, no, I'm literally above the law. You can't. We're the judgments of the court, the executive branch is not privy to them. We're above them. Quote unquote, no court of the United States may use appropriated funds to enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction. So this is the language they use to hide everything. For failure to comply with an injunction or a temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction or order was issued. Huh? What? Huh? No, it means we're above the law. Bunch of fancy $5 words to say we're above the law. The provision in the bill, which is more than 1,000 pages long, says, right? So they just tucked this little statement in there. Cute, isn't it? Cute. Right? Do you want me to pull out the Star Wars? This is how democracy dies. How the raging applause. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Who does George Lucas vote for though? I want to know. Who's that motherfucker voting for? He's a bazillionaire. Is he really voting Democrat? Watch George Lucas voting for the Empire, dog. Guillotines need to make a comeback. Jail sentences, not guillotines. You know, the right now in the current shape of America, the entire idea of a rich man getting put in jail for his crimes is unthinkable. Okay? We don't need guillotines to scare these people to comply. We really don't. A couple months in a legitimate jail where they're not raped, by the way. I don't really think it's great that people are raped in jail. But just a couple of months, and these bitches will be wailing, okay, I'll comply with the law. We don't need guillotines. We just need compliance with the law and, you know, jail sentences. That's literally all we need. And these little bitch boy teetotaling oligarchs will fucking, you know, will bend and crack and break. Nazis do not change. Yeah, no. That's why we have separation of powers. That's why we have checks and balances. Okay. But this idea that we need to be killing rich people, right? We don't have to kill anybody. Okay? We just need jail sentences and we need enforcement. And let me tell you, these motherfucking bitches will fall in line. So anyway, Republicans are interested in making Donald Trump dictator, and they're happy to put it in a 1,000-page, big, beautiful bill. By the way, did you hear about this on mainstream news? Did any of you? You know, it's okay. You didn't hear about it because you're ignorant. The reason why you didn't hear about it is because they're not doing their job. Public floggings, we don't need any of that. A jail sentence, a fucking orange jumpsuit, and the shittiest food that they've ever had in their life for like 6 months, and these bitches fall in line. Okay, I'll stop supporting fascism. Okay. Oh, okay, the liberals are actually enforcing the law now, guys. Oh, okay, all right, well, all right. I guess I'll stop trying to blatantly break it. Right? We're like skipping a whole step here. Talking about guillotines and shit. Jail sentences for financial crimes. No, I mean, look, these people are committing crimes. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with saying you're a lawbreaker. You deserve jail time. If the justice system wasn't politicized and benefiting the rich, you would be in jail. You deserve jail. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not an assault. That's not a threat. You know? And look, I'm not saying this in the chat because, once again, the regulators know what the fuck they're talking about here. I'm just saying in general, the whole idea of that even being a reality in a lot of Americans' minds doesn't exist. Yeah, but Poodle's rule, you know what I'm saying, though. A little taste of enforcement would actually go quite a long way in whipping the oligarchy into shape. We don't need to kill anybody. With that said, if, you know, just as, you know, JFK who said those who make dissent impossible make, you know, violence inevitable, something like that. But if the oligarchy and the Trump administration, they continue to strip us of our liberties and rights, they continue to exploit us to egregious levels never before seen in human history, literally. There will be people that I can't control, you can't control. Okay, we're not fucking. That's not how this works, right? There are individuals who will act out and do terrible things, and of course, we will be covering the Israeli diplomats who were murdered and how counterproductive that's been, right? Is any lefty going to sit here and say, oh yeah, you know, any lefty that's sitting there and saying that they deserved it, are they going to say that that's been a productive thing that's helped the situation? You know, the blatant, overt murder of these Israeli diplomats, that's supposed to help the leftist movement, the pro-free Palestine movement, really? Right, we're going to get to it. So here we go. Another I mean, does this man sleep in a coffin? You know what I mean? This man was assembled by okay.
My concern about the deficit and the debt is tremendous.
Right. He's actually on my side. I'm going to sit here and burn him anyway because he's a fascistic Republican. He's like, I love the racism. I love treating people like total garbage. I love stripping of rights and massive tax cuts for the rich. But the objective reality is that I'm going to lose my personal position and power in a democratic contest if we continue to do this. So I have an opinion contrary to the party that I love so much and that I'll do anything for. No, this motherfucker's a corpse, dude. This guy is a Weekend at Bernie's reanimated Frankensteinian corpse, okay? Underneath this suit is literally a patchwork of different body parts and skin stitched together haphazardly by a madman who did his work in a dirty laboratory. Guaranteed. Okay, we're spreading lies on the left. Let's do it. This man's Frankenstein. Monster. Frankenstein's monster. Sorry, I almost did the thing. Sorry.
My concern about the deficit and the debt is tremendous. This bill in its entirety, the way it was written, we would go from 36 trillion now in debt to 56 trillion minimum.
Sounds like a rhino.
If this bill goes through the way it is written with no fraud, waste, and abuse taken out of Medicaid. We would own Obamacare. Not repeal it.
Currently, the bill spends more money.
You see how he's still loyal? I'm waste, fraud, and abuse, and we still have to cut and cut, but it's going to hurt my personal policy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to fight against this. It's interesting to me that they haven't gotten the memo. I think Trump needs to send out the memo before the midterms that these guys don't need to worry about elections anymore. Come on. Trump's got your back. Trump's got your back no matter how disgusting and corrupt you are. You're always going to win the elections. I guarantee it, guys. It's not the big story right now because it's not their main focus, right? They're trying to do all this other stuff right now. But, you know, once the midterms start ramping up, the effort to completely annihilate any illegitimacy is going to be in full swing, okay? It's interesting to me because right now they when they speak they almost seem concerned about their future elections. You know, well if I'm no longer a congressman, the mad scientist who keeps me alive in his laboratory won't be able to fuel my massive battery. I will literally die.
We would own Obamacare. Not repeal it.
Currently, the bill spends more money than the status quo. I mean, so it doesn't actually help deficits; it actually hurts the deficits.
Right, and that's what Americans care about so much, right? Deficits, right? Every time you go to the gas pump, you're like, "Fucking deficit."
Brings us to the floor tonight.
I think the bill's going to have problems.
Right. I think the bill's going to have problems. It passed. It passed with one. And they chanted USA, USA while they lit the Constitution on fire. Woo, baby! Make Donald Trump a king. Make Donald Trump a king. Did a couple Elon salutes, but you know, cameras weren't looking. The bond market is sounding the alarm on U.S. and global fiscal situations, says Subhadra Rajapapa. Shut up. Leave me alone. Okay? I was raised in the fucking woods. Leave me alone. Anyway, this is actually really bad news. Welcome back, Blue Brother. Good to see you. Closed captions. We turned them on. Welcome back, Female Eunuchs. Welcome back, everybody. Poodles rule. Every one of you people in the chat. True regulators. How about a round of applause for the chat, folks? I don't know. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave. I know you're bored to shit. Please don't leave. No, this is actually really bad news, the bond market. So this is like, you could think of the bond market as like the legitimacy of the dollar. You know, not to get into like why people do this and whatnot, but the idea is that you buy bonds because it's a safe and guaranteed return because the dollar is so strong. It's not a big return. You don't make a lot of money, but you can make it's consistent. It's supposed to be as good as gold. It's supposed to, you know, supposed to hold value because it's based off the full faith of the U.S. government, that they're going to pay their bills and that they're going to be the most powerful empire in the world, et cetera, et cetera. The strength of the dollar gives America, the American empire, the power that it flexes all across the world, right? That's kind of the untold thing that a lot of Americans don't understand. It's the U.S. dollar that's actually the most powerful weapon that we have in our tool belt. And of course, China, Russia, BRICS are interested in changing that dynamic because you can make more money and you can actually increase the power of your entire country. It's a big goal. China would love this. It's a multi-decade goal of China to destroy the dollar, replace it with their own currency and laugh along with me. But maybe the possibility of like a basket of currencies, right? A bunch of BRICS countries getting together and setting a value on a collection of currencies, yada yada. It doesn't matter how they do it. The most important thing in their mind is to destroy the dollar. So what we are seeing is, because of the actions of Donald Trump, countries are either taking advantage of the situation and exacerbating the situation by selling off their bonds early, or in the case of Japan, I don't think they have much of a choice. And if you hold on to bonds and then the country fails, oh shit, you just lost a lot of money. You just lost a lot of money. So if you see a situation where the value is not going to be where it is when because it's like a 10 years or something, you get 5-year, 10-year bonds, right? And to get your payout, you got to wait. So it's kind of like a loan, kind of. Anyway, but you take a penalty, I think, if you sell them early. So it's like you don't make your money back, but you're no longer holding risky. What should be a guarantee, right? Your gold churns to copper. Right, your gold turns to fucking bricks of dookie, depending on how bad the situation gets. And Japan, who now I think believes, not believes, I believe I think they have the most bonds. It used to be China, but now it's Japan who has the most, and they're starting to get rid of it. And it's that's the confidence thing that even the sociopaths who love fascism and authoritarianism and are all MAGA guys and they love Trump. That's where it's like, okay, the music has stopped, right? Remember that from that movie, Margin Call, right? The music has stopped, and he's like, we're not even talking about the music stopping. We're talking about the music slowing down. The bond market is the volume dial. Okay, all right, let's get to the clip.
Take a look at Treasury yields this morning. They're a little lower than they had been earlier in the week, but we are talking about elevated levels that's been taking course all week since the Moody's downgrade last week.
Yeah, I guess that's the right
the 30-year
spot
this
there.
morning's at 5.03%. The 10-year is at 4.52. For more on this week's action in the bond market, we want to bring in Subhadra Rajappa. She is the head of U.S. rate strategy at Societe Generale. And Subhadra, let's run through what we're talking about here. Ray Dalio has a warning that's out there. He says, I think we should be afraid of the bond market. I would say that if we're really looking over the next 3 years, to give or take a year or two, that we're in a type of critical situation. Do you agree?
Yeah, we're definitely at levels that we should be concerned about, 5% in 30 years. And if for some reason, if we start seeing a continued sell-off in the 10-year towards that 5% level as well, that I think is a bit of a concern. But this is not just a U.S. phenomenon. You're seeing global bond yields rise. You're seeing this unraveling of correlations between all the different assets.
Right, you're already passed out. Okay, you got me on the second screen. You're currently sniping some noobs. You don't know what the fuck's going on. It's bad. It's bad. Okay, it's confidence in not just the bond itself, but the U.S. as a country. It's like, oh, it's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. No, this is a huge deal.
I mean, typically when equities sell off, investors flock to the safety of bonds and the dollar. That's not happening. And you're also seeing at the same time that investors are really demanding a term premium for bonds, not just in the U.S., but again, also globally. With JGB yields going higher. So you're seeing this kind of...
Well, it's not... They don't want to collapse, but they can't help themselves. The ravenous sociopaths in the stock market, they can't help themselves. They'll drive this country into the next depression if they can make a buck.
Very, difficult picture, if you will, for bonds globally.
I mean, 5%, I know that's at the very high end of things over the last 18 years. But if you look historically, it's really not subnormal, out of the norm, and we've seen rates that are much higher than this going back historically. Is this really the bond market sitting up and saying we're not going to continue to allow these global fiscal deficits to continue?
Yeah, for sure. I think this is...
And this is before the big, beautiful bill. Okay, this is the sell-off because everyone knows that the spineless Republicans are going to pass it, and that's exactly what happened. And there's a good chance that the Senate, spineless as well, captured by the Republican Party, by the MAGA movement, will pass this as well. So this is that the roller coaster cresting the hill, right before. Okay. To me, this is like, this could get much worse if the big beautiful bill passes in the Senate.
Bond vigilantism at its early stages. I mean, we saw that back in...
That's them. We need to remember, like, these are statements, but Fortune magazine, right? That's a statement made by an incredibly oligarch-friendly, billionaire-friendly news source. And they're saying, ooh, meekly, death by 1,000 cuts. In reality, it's someone getting eviscerated by the open end of a fucking lawnmower. Okay, death by 1,000 cuts. More like It's overt. And these sociopaths are like, but we're gonna make so much money. Oh, well, what do we do? This is the fascist, authoritarian dream that we've always wanted. Yeah, what was that Peter Jackson movie? Is it called Bad Blood? That was the movie I was thinking about, with the scene in the foyer where he's killing all the zombies with the lawnmower. Is it called Bad Blood? Peter Jackson used to make trauma-like horror exploitation films. They're really awesome. You might want to look them up if you're into that kind of stuff. But there's a great scene where he's just a whole room of zombies with a fucking lawnmower. It's so good.
August of 2023, when the Treasury increased its coupon issuance sizes, you saw bond investors push back, and 10-year yields started going towards 5%.
Right. Yada, yada. You get it. They're shaky. They're preemptively doing a sell-off. Everything is down in all the different years, right? You got the 30-year, the 10-year, the 5-year, the 2-year, everything down. And this is like the preemptive sell-off before the thing actually passes. So there you go. That's the big beautiful bill. Didn't they have some kind of record for the most fake blood used in I think so. I mean, it certainly looks like it. I mean, it's amazing. Is it Bad Blood? Lawn mower scene. Oh no. Did I get it right? Yeah. Oh, it's brain dead. Right. Okay. So I'm going to get in trouble. It's all fake blood, blah, blah, blah. But no, so this is death by 1,000 cuts, according to Fortune magazine. Oh, can't show that. Whoa, can't show that. Whoa, can't show that. Oh, great movie. That's Peter Jackson. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings guy. All right, well, there you go. That's the big, beautiful bill. All right, what are we doing next, folks? What are we doing next? Make sure you call it out. Which one do you want to see next? Do you want to go to Gaza? You want to talk about liberty? How about some world news? South Africa was in the news for horrible reasons. Ukraine, hell world, the SCOTUS. Which one do you want? Call it out in the chat, folks. Here we go. Where will the nightmare go next? Where will the nightmare go next? It's all bad news. Yay! World news. Okay, we want some world news. World news. Female eunuchs want some world news. We're going to Ukraine. Woo! They were just recently bombed horribly in Kyiv. Woo! All right, let's go. Yeah, they were just horrifically bombed by Russia. Okay, Ukraine. 13 killed in Ukraine as major prisoner swap underway. So, for Vladimir Putin over here during a supposed to be, leading to peace, prisoner swap, attack their capital, kill innocent civilians while we're doing this, right? Just so that he and the rest of the world knows I have no inclination for peace whatsoever, right? And then Donald Trump sees that and he's like, no sanctions. I mean, come on, it's just, we're just gonna, he's just, Putin. He's just a nice guy, and I really admire him, and I think his empire is so great and it's so amazing. But no, there was another bombing.
Explosions rung out above Kiev's St. Sophia Cathedral last night in one of Russia's biggest aerial assaults on the city yet. 250 drones and 14 ballistic missiles rained down, some intercepted, others setting fire to several properties.
Mansour, I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but the amount of value that America and the rest of the Western world has gotten out of the Ukrainian military is exceptional. Exceptional. Okay, we're talking 4-to-1 kill rate. We're talking they're able to take weapons from the 1960s and effectively use them on the battlefield. We're talking about a kind of strength the modern world has never seen in a military before, the Ukrainian military. And these are just objective facts. That's not even, I got a lot of criticism of Ukraine and the Ukrainian military, but there's just some objective facts right now. Okay? Nobody is more effective right now, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, than the Ukrainian military, doing what they can with, quite frankly, people are all like, oh, the waste. It's actually, they're actually doing quite amazing with very little. America went into Iraq and Afghanistan with quadruple the amount of resources and got their ass kicked. Ukraine is going in there with trickles. The European Union and America and Canada makes all kinds of promises and then they don't fucking deliver. But Ukraine still continues. 4-to-1, 5-to-1 kill rate. On the front lines. Now, are they technically winning? It's a stalemate. That's what it is technically. But the fact that it wasn't a complete rout. Look, you have to understand where the situation was in 2018. I think is when they took Crimea, right? And where they are now. And look, there's a reason why Keir Starmer and France and Germany and everyone and all the European Union's very worried. 2014, thank you. I always get those two mixed up. But there's a reason why they're very worried about Ukraine losing. Ukraine has the largest military of any Western-friendly, European-friendly country. So if the Ukrainian military falls, the Polish military isn't big enough to stop Russia. The Swedish and Norway military, Germans military, France's military, UK's military, even combined, they might not have the same amount of force capacity that the Ukrainian military currently has. So, like, Putin is starting with the hardest opponent. And if he defeats Ukraine, Europe opens up. Europe opens up with a coward like Donald Trump in charge, incapable of acting and seemingly with some compromise and some kind of spell, Rasputin-like spell that Putin has over Trump. Who knows what the reason is? Is it really the hotel? I don't know. I can't get over it, man. It's just like Donald Trump handed this historic victory on a golden platter, right? All he needs to do is pour it on for Ukraine. Maybe provide some air cover if you want to speed this up, right? Like, doesn't even have to put boots on the ground. Just has to ship weapons. Something America does really fucking well. Make weapons and send them to another fucking country to deal with their problems. And he could spank Putin. He could be the president of the United States that spanks Putin like no president has ever done in fucking history. And he just sits on it, man. He sits on his fat fucking ass doing, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Do you understand Russia's economy is smaller than California's? I think that's true. It's not an economic military powerhouse, okay? This isn't the 1940s. It's kind of a joke. And like the whole, like, Americans don't get it. They because they're complete vacuum of geopolitical information, right? They don't understand the power dynamics. They hear Russia, they think Red Dawn.
And injuring at least 15, Ukrainian authorities say.
The neighbour who lives here on the 5th floor was in the hallway and survived.
Oh, sorry.
He said the drone hit the roof right above his flat and set his flat on fire. It took a while for the firefighters to put it out.
Caught on CCTV, the full force of one of those 250.
Right. Does that look like a military target to you?
To
You tell me. Right. So he spends millions of rubles to shoot a missile hundreds of miles away to what? Blow up your mid-size 4-door sedan? It's terrorism. That's the goal here. Terrorism. Look at this. What are these, fucking a garden? Or you got your tomatoes growing? You got to blow that shit up. Spend $500,000 to blow up that tomato plant.
Caught on CCTV, the full force of one of those 250 drones as it hit this building at 1:30 a.m. The sounds of sirens, blasts and falling debris
Terrorism.
continuing
Look
through
at that
the
military
night.
target.
While some sheltered in corridors and car parks,
Donald Trump
others slept in the capital's underground stations, bomb shelters
capitulates.
once again.
Honestly, I don't think that anyone in Kyiv had any sleep this night. I personally spent this night under the stairs at home where we usually hide
We're gonna be
during
covering
such an attacks. It was terrifying. It felt honestly like Armageddon.
Moscow had yesterday
Another
vowed that it
military
would
target
respond
there.
to several days' worth of Ukrainian drone attacks on targets inside Russia. But as fighting rages on, today prisoner swaps from both sides continued into a second day.
Look at the state of these guys. You know, I always need to point this out, the difference between a Russian prisoner and a Ukrainian prisoner, because there's really not much there's really not much else that you need to say after looking at them. Emaciated, starved. Most of these guys were tortured in various ways. On top of that, shaved bald because the conditions that they're staying in are so bad that they have lice infections because they're kept in dungeons. And Donald Trump hand rings and capitulates. Which one do I know? Which one do I do? I don't know. Oh, well, Zelensky's Jewish. I don't know if I can trust him.
Glory to Ukraine, shouted some of the 307 prisoners of war returned to an undisclosed location in the country. The same number were returned to Russia, some flown in by plane in the early hours of this morning.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your Russian prisoners. See the
Flown in by
difference?
plane in the early hours of this morning.
Look at these guys. I don't know. They're wearing hats. I don't know. They do look like they were shaved. Their hair was shaved. That just might be a POW thing, the smart thing to do, right? Instead of worrying about that kind of level of hygiene. I don't know. But look at them. They don't look starved. These guys don't look starved. Guy has big ears, though.
The deal to exchange 1,000 prisoners each is the only concrete result of peace negotiations in Istanbul last week. These the first direct talks between countries since Russia's invasion of its neighbour, even if its president Vladimir Putin refused to show up. President Trump wondered aloud on Truth Social whether this could lead to what he called something big. But with 13 civilians killed across Ukraine in the last 24 hours alone, and Russia ignoring calls for a 30-day ceasefire.
No. See what you didn't see? So yeah, your canned goods, right? Oh yeah, right. No. There was actually ammo on that shelf. This is a stage thing, okay? Grandpa, this location right here, Grandpa was keeping the heavy shit, the hot shit, okay? Russian intelligence is that good. They pinpointed this location. They said, look, we got a weapons dump that looks like a really nice little, hobby nook where you can, jar some pickles, maybe, plant some flowers, things like that. It's a lie. It's a Ukrainian lie. This is how good they are. It's an ammo dump, folks. Okay, military target.
In the last 24 hours alone.
Canned goods. Yeah, more right. Yeah, right. There's grenades and stuff in there.
And Russia ignoring calls for a 30-day ceasefire. It looks unlikely.
Well, there's one cynical reason why Russia continues to do the prisoner swaps. It's because they're incredibly desperate for more people. These guys, these Russians that are like, yay, we're free, literally sent straight to the fucking front lines immediately. Immediately in some cases. Immediately. You don't even get a couple days to be home and say hi to your family. Your ass goes directly back to the front lines. That's the cynical and horrific reason why Russia continues to do these, and that's why it's 1-to-1. I got video that'll show you what Russians have been doing to most, a good chunk of their POWs. They're only saving enough POWs for these like 1,000-person swaps, but they're straight up, without a doubt, murdering people right there in the field, leaving their dead bodies lying in the field. Ukrainian soldiers that have surrendered. I got video proof.
Olha, whose husband is missing in action.
Yeah, Overdur. I mean, yeah, you're allowed to feel bad for these idiots, these morons, these uneducated, literally fools, drunken fools, that are plucked out of their rural shack that doesn't even have fucking plumbing in some cases, and then thrown to the front lines to be thrown into a meat grinder. You're allowed to feel bad for them. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to be thrown into a meat grinder, they do have the ability to not go to the front line and be thrown into prison. But it's rough. I understand feeling bad for them, but at the same time, this is an invasion, and those poor idiots. There's no other choice. There's no other choice. It's either they die or Ukraine loses its sovereignty, and then these drunken idiots are raping and pillaging Ukraine. So, yeah. Is it a tragic, callous, nihilistic treatment of human life? Absolutely. But welcome to the real world, where sometimes killing needs to be done. We got no choice here. Ukrainians have no fucking choice. It's either this or be conquered by them. Be conquered by these drunken fools led by a madman. Let's not forget, Russia is currently kidnapping Ukrainian children and brainwashing them into being good little Russians. And in some cases with the hopes of sending them to the front lines to fight against their own country. They lost their government in 2014? What are we talking about here? Am I seeing excuses for the Russian invasion in my chat? Am I going to have to get my flush button ready? Is that what I'm seeing, Tisrael?
Was visiting her parents when...
Can Monsieur Orbital answer this question? Is the Ukrainian invasion by Russia justified? Is Russia justified in invading Ukraine? Monsieur Orbital? Could you please answer with a yes or no? Is Russia justified in invading Ukraine?
The strikes hit.
The kids called me at 3 in the morning, screaming, "Mom, we were hit. The balcony's on fire." I told them to take the documents and our 2 cats, but they couldn't catch them.
I'd like Trump to see this, says 63-year-old Helena, whose apartment was destroyed overnight and who woke up, like so many others, to the random and routine cruelty of a war without an end in sight.
Yeah, look, does the terror campaign look like it's working? No one is justified in violating another country's national sovereignty. Right. Okay, that's correct. Is Ukraine justified in resisting and killing the Russians that are invading its country? Last question. Is Ukraine justified in terms of defending itself from an invasion? That means the necessity. That's your answer. Okay, I've got one more question for you. Is Ukraine justified in defending itself? Is it allowed to defend itself using deadly force to do so? Is Ukraine justified in that use of deadly force? Look at this Ukrainian. He's terrified. Look at that Putin. Scared shitless. Look at this guy. Sipping some fucking Nescafe. Thinking about what a bitch you are, Vladimir.
Media agenda. Now, a 41-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder after a mother and her 3 children.
Monsieur Orbital, still waiting for my answer.
Children aged 4, 8 and 15 died in a house fire in northwest London overnight. The woman and 1 child were rescued from the second floor but were declared dead later. 2 other people were taken to hospital.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is a different tragedy that happened in the UK. Unfortunately, we're not covering the UK at the moment, but this is incredibly tragic. RIP to the victims. Moving on to the next article here. This is good news. Like to see it. Still waiting for my answer, Monsieur Orbital. The sovereign government of Ukraine is... I was looking for a yes or a no, actually. Once again, the question is Ukraine justified in defending itself from an illegal invasion? I don't understand what a legal invasion would even look like, but people identify it as an illegal invasion, right? Is Ukraine justified in its use of deadly force against a country that's invading its sovereign territory? Yes or no is the response that I'm expected from you. I don't see how it can be more explicit. You forgot to put a yes or a no in that response. Yes or no, Ukraine is justified in using deadly force to defend itself. Yes or no, Monsieur. Monsieur playing games over here. Ooh, I don't know. Ooh, I don't know. The sovereign government is. Okay. Interesting response, because it seems like what you're saying is that the current government that was voted in democratically, Vladimir Zelensky, is illegitimate. Is that what you're saying? Yes or no, Monsieur? Are you saying that the current Vladimir Zelensky government, are you one of these, he's a puppet installed by Barack Obama idiots? Kremlin talking point. Zelensky is not only still popular, he's less popular than when he was elected, but he's still popular, still has the majority in terms of popularity. But he was absolutely democratically elected. Right. Okay. You're playing games and you're wasting my time. I'm going to give you one more opportunity to answer this question, then I'm going to flush you and move on with my life. Is Vladimir Zelensky the legitimately democratically elected president of Ukraine? Right. He's at war, Monsieur. And once again, this is a Kremlin talking point that he needs to hold an election during an invasion. Standard not applied to America, a standard not applied to any other country. His mandate ran out. By the way, his mandate is defend his country from an invasion. Right. So once again, yes or no. You see how they play games? You see how slick they think they are? You're such a piece of shit. Is Vladimir Zelensky... So you no longer recognize the legitimacy of Vladimir Zelensky? He's a wartime president. He's a wartime president, currently in a full-blown invasion. He should have an election. How are the Ukrainians that have been kidnapped by Russia to vote? How are the kidnapped Ukrainians supposed to vote? And how are the Ukrainians that are currently living in occupied Ukraine, currently occupied by Russia, how are they supposed to vote, by the way? If he gets elected again, yes. Wow. So, and let me guess, you don't acknowledge that what you're repeating is a Kremlin talking point, that Vladimir Zelensky's anti-democratic and he needs to hold an election right now, even though he's currently being invaded. His country's being fucking missiled every fucking day. But he needs to have an election. Is that what he needs to do? Yeah? You're such a piece of shit. The political opponents that he's locked up, you mean the pro-Russian bastards who are directly trying to undermine his government? Look, I'm not saying Zelensky's perfect, okay? I'm not saying that he hasn't, that there has to be some examples of him overreaching, but it's such a dishonest talking point. Oh, he doesn't have a mandate. He's a dictator now. Oh. Yeah, look, and there's, So the idea, okay, do you have any proof? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you got some wonderful links to show me. But this idea that he's a dictator, that he has no more mandate from the people, Kremlin talking point. Okay. Is he perfect? No. What did Abraham Lincoln have to do to win against the fucking rebels? He had to suspend habeas corpus. You know, what did Franklin Delano Roosevelt thought that he had to do when he really shouldn't have, when he didn't? But what kind of extremes did he go to during wartime, you know, with Japanese internment? It was a terrible, terrible idea, but he felt at the time necessary. So we're talking about a scenario, a president, he didn't stand for election during the Revolutionary War, you piece of shit. He didn't have an election during the fucking Revolutionary War. Hold on. Let's make sure. Did Lincoln? I'm doing a lot of Lincoln stuff right now, actually. Did Lincoln have an election during the Civil War? While the Confederacy seemed to have survival potential in summer, it was visibly collapsing by Election Day in November. Despite his early fears of defeat, Lincoln won, so he did, actually. Wow, what a ballsy son of a bitch. Props to Lincoln over here. Props to Lincoln. Okay. Once again, though, the idea that Zelensky could have some kind of legitimate election, and is he going to have people? This is what Russia wants, right? They want a bunch of people grouping up together, voting. Right. Okay, Mansour. Yeah, no, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you. He's a wartime president currently experiencing an invasion. It would benefit Russia heavily for Zelensky to distract, spend millions of dollars on an election. What is Zelensky's popularity? He's not currently underwater. Yeah, what do the polls show? 2025 here. So he's not even unpopular here. Yeah. The European Council Foreign Relations survey taken by phone in October with adjustments made for occupied territory, which is important, found that nearly half of Ukrainians, 47%, said they thought it was most likely outcome of the war was a compromise between Russia and Ukraine, while 34% said Ukraine was winning. The likely outcome, and 18% said Russia was winning. In May, 58% of Ukrainians thought Ukraine was winning the war was most likely. So we're looking at pretty good numbers still. People haven't gotten completely despotic about the war, but what about Zelensky? Okay, Zelensky's strong points among his countrymen were his intelligence, patriotism, and strong leadership. In a question about the next presidential election, Zelensky led his closest challenger, Zelensky, by 44% to 21%. If the election were held tomorrow, so right there, so he could actually win. But see what Mansour wants. He's helping Russia. He wants the distraction. He wants this pressure. He wants to delegitimize Zelensky, because he's the crux of this. He's the X factor, Zelensky. Without Zelensky, Ukraine loses this war, right? It's very important for Russia to delegitimize Zelensky as a leader. And here's Mansour doing desperately, oh, Lincoln did it, Lincoln did it. Because this is the same scenario, right? This is the same exact scenario. Your point is taken. Lincoln was brave enough to have an election, and it looks like the poll numbers would benefit Zelensky if he were to have an election. But we need to remember who benefits from Zelensky doing an election right now that he's likely to win. Who benefits? Russia. Why? Ukraine's going to be distracted, spending money instead of on the front lines because it costs millions of dollars to do an election, right? So spending money on this election. Zelensky's legitimacy becomes into question. Well, if he's doing an election, maybe his legitimacy wasn't. Maybe he doesn't have a mandate to repel the invasion. So who does an election actually benefit? No, Mansour, you're full of shit. Okay, and I'm done wasting my time with you. You've made your point. You're a shill for Russia. You would like to see Zelensky make bad decisions that benefit Russia and Putin. You're claiming that Zelensky's illegitimate when the polls show he's still popular and would right now, if the election were held right now, defeat his Democratic opponent. It's not unfounded for presidents during wartime to suspend elections. It's not right. Yeah, here we go. The two people that came in right around the same time have the same opinion. Good, that's fine. I like hitting the flush button. Zelensky is not illegitimate. It is not unfounded for a Democratic president who believes in democracy to suspend elections during a full-blown election or during a full-blown invasion. It's, if this was, is Zelensky's government perfect? No, not at all. There's all kinds of issues with gay rights that still need to be addressed. I was criticizing him last stream about the Azov battalion being allowed to still keep their logo, and not really doing a very good job of going after people with overt Nazi tattoos. But at the same time, how much resources and time does a leader spend while these men are fighting on the front lines? Does he want Ukrainians to go up and check their tattoos? While they're throwing grenades into dugouts, getting Russians out of there. Once again, who does this benefit? This narrative, this delegitimization narrative. Who does this benefit? Right? Were these two guys just standing up for democracy and liberty, or were they part of a larger program of delegitimizing Zelensky as a leader, further helping the invasion effort of Russia? Right? What's more likely? That we had two guys that are big fans of Abraham Lincoln for some fucking reason, and they just believe in democracy and liberty, and they care about the Ukrainian people so much, and oh my God, and their liberties are being taken. Well, can you believe they're not having an election right now? Their capital was literally just bombed, 12 civilians taken out. Can you believe they're not holding elections right now? Who does that benefit? Right? With that said, Zelensky's not perfect. The government's not perfect. He has, if he's not able to maintain popularity, that's still an issue. He's not allowed to just go full dictator. But the Ukrainian people believe in resistance. They believe in fighting Russia. A lot of Ukrainians, 47%, believe that they're going to have to compromise, likely with Crimea. But they're not ready to give up the Donbass. They're not ready to give up Dnipro. Anyway, back to the actual news now that we're done with the turds. EU and Britain go ahead with new Russian sanctions without waiting for Trump, so this is great news. Trump, he's like, maybe we'll sanction. And then yesterday, I think it was yesterday or a couple days ago, he said, nah, we're not. No, we're just kidding. No, we don't want to do that. I love Putin. I love Putin so much. Please don't release the Epstein tapes, Putin. Please don't release the Epstein tapes. Oh, my God. There's a video floating around of Donald Trump getting a handy from a 14-year-old prostitute wearing a white glove. I know this. I know it. I know in my motherfucking cockles, man. P-tape isn't real. The prostitute tape is real. Russian tanky bots are sad as fuck. I mean, it really is sad, right? It really is sad. Because, because if you're not clever, if you're not, aware, if you're not, that Abraham Lincoln thing could really work on you. Oh, well, I mean, Abraham Lincoln held an election when it was clear the Revolutionary War was nearly over, and it was clear in the polls that he was going to win, and his country wasn't currently being invaded by an outside fucking government. Yeah, he held elections. He's a baller like that. Well, that's the same thing that's happening in Ukraine, right? No. Actually, no. It's actually not even remotely close to what was happening during the Civil War in America. Well, but he was a leader that held elections during a war, so there you go. Zelensky is not legitimate. The sovereign government of Ukraine has a right to defend itself, but not Zelensky or the actual people that are defending themselves. But the sovereign government, which is what? The Russia-controlled government that Zelensky fucking deposed? Yeah, that's the legitimate government. That's the sovereign government that Ukrainians want. They want some Russian puppet. Our constitutions are different. No, they're not. Lincoln did it. Tisrio. Lincoln did it. Anyway, this is good news. EU and Britain go ahead with new sanctions. Trump hand-wringing, wasting time. Okay, it's real. It's real, okay? The tape is real. The Jeffrey Epstein tapes are real, okay? I don't know. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. It could literally be the fucking hotel deal. It could literally be he thinks Russia is like Russia from the 60s and stuff, right? And that he wants a hotel in Moscow. It could literally be that stupid, okay? But whatever the reason is, Trump's got Putin's back even now. Ironically, though, the weapons are still flowing into Ukraine. Like he hasn't made the final decision yet, right? Of like, okay, we're going to fuck Ukraine over for the benefit of Putin. We're going to do that. He's still kind of like right on the fence, and he doesn't know what direction to take. Because I guarantee you, there's people in his orbit that are like, sir, you could be the guy who defeats Putin. You could be the guy who spanks Putin. Like, no matter what the history books say about your fascist, prick ass, you will be the guy that defeated Putin, right? The history books will always have to say that caveat. Oh, yeah, total authoritarian dictator, pedophile, criminal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But he also, in a time of need, poured on the weapons. It's like the caveat that people give for Nixon. Oh, yeah, wildly corrupt, totally selfish, but he did open up relations with China. So there's got to be people in his orbit that's like, sir, this is your legacy. Defended. You guys want to see something crazy? Look, man, Russia. Look, I go back to what those shills were saying, though. This is pathetic. How old is this kid? How old is this child? He should be playing Apex Legends and fucking my mother. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, you're in some other person's gazebo or whatever, doing a motherfucking TikTok to your Russian followers in someone else's country, and then this is what happens.
So the disclosure of this tape.
Whoops. Fuck. Whoops. I don't know. Maybe invading another country, not so lit, bro. Not so skibbity. Okay, you're not risen it up in some other dude's gazebo, okay? You're getting your ass handed to you by a military 1/3 your size. Welcome to the fucking body pile, bro. You should be playing Apex Legends, dude. On some beat-ass laptop in some fucking cyber cafe in the trenches of Moscow somewhere.
There has been a sharp increase in Ukrainian Air Force strikes using U.S.-supplied GBU-39 precision glide bombs, which have a
we're not going to listen to too much of this because the AI voice, but we're going to get a couple tidbits.
Range of over 100 kilometers. One recent strike reportedly eliminated approximately 25 Russian troops in their dugouts. Ukrainian forces eliminated Russian troops who staged a video claiming the capture of Vilna Pole in Donetsk region. Moments after filming their triumph, they were struck by the 15th Mountain Assault Battalion and the 31st Mechanized Brigade.
We're winning.
In recent weeks, Russian forces have intensified their offensive operations in the Donetsk region.
Oh my God! Come on with this. Come on with this, man. You out there for a smoke, huh? You're out there for a fucking smoke. That's what you're doing, huh? Right. I swear to God, I don't see these guys look up. I don't know if they're being trained properly to even look for drones. I see Azov guys looking up.
Russian forces have intensified their offensive operations in the Donetsk region, focusing on key frontline areas such as Avdiivka, Chasiv Yar, and surrounding settlements.
Bro.
Despite deploying significant manpower, armor, and artillery.
And look, you're exhausted, right? You're just getting there. You're completely drained, sapped. You need to rest, right? But, I mean, the drones have changed everything. No sniper, no mortar specialist, you know what I mean? No bomber could ever dream of this kind of pinpoint precision. Look at this shit. He's completely covered. You can't see him except for this one little cubby hole.
Region,
and
focusing on key frontline areas such as Avdiivka, Chasiv Yar, and surrounding settlements. Despite deploying significant manpower, armor, and artillery, their attempts to break through Ukrainian defensive positions have largely failed. The terrain in this region has become a deadly trap for advancing Russian troops as Ukrainian forces, using precision-guided munitions, drone surveillance, and well-prepared fortifications, continue to repel wave after wave of assaults. The Russian military has suffered.
Look at this. Look at this nightmare. You're a soldier walking at dusk in the middle of the road, no cover, nowhere to run. You're so boned. You're so completely fucking boned. Have you seen the videos where the drone operator toys with these guys? Nightmares. Nightmares. And they just keep coming. They just keep coming. And then you know, why even give these guys equipment? You know what I mean? Why? You know why you give these guys equipment? To make them feel better. It's not to protect them. It's not to help them camouflage. All that's useless. It's literally like the seatbelt on an airplane, right? It's to make you feel safe. That's the only reason why you even give these guys clothes. Welcome back, Ribbons.
Suffered staggering losses, often advancing only a few hundred meters at a time, or not at all, before being forced to retreat under intense fire.
Look at this shit.
Many assaults are poorly coordinated and rely on sheer numbers rather than...
And look at this guy. So I think the robot went in or something. He's like panicking. He just runs out in the open. Stone cold, you're done, dude.
Tactical superiority, leading to high casualty rates. Footage and battlefield...
Just in the middle of a fucking field, just walking. No, nothing. I mean...
Reports show entire units being decimated in open fields and near urban strongholds where Ukrainian defenders maintain the upper hand. This grinding attritional warfare has placed enormous pressure on Russian command structures and logistics. Reports from the front indicate severe shortages of experienced personnel and growing morale issues among Russian troops. Despite months of effort and heavy casualties, Moscow has failed to achieve any significant territorial gains in Donetsk.
So it's inches and feet. They have to send thousands of troops and hundreds of vehicles before they take some of these positions. If they were to keep up this pace all the way to Kyiv, they would have to expend the entire population of Russia to do that at this current pace. You know, look, I don't know what they were doing during the Cold War. It must have been just like, because they were just filling warehouse after warehouse after warehouse with tanks and equipment. Because like, there's just more. There's just always more. It's crazy to me. And this is the war they want to fight, a war of resources. Once again, we're going to watch some Azov footage. Once again, change your fucking logo. Once again, go through your ranks. Do something about these assholes with white supremacist tattoos. And once again, the white supremacists that make up Azov, less than 20%. Likely less than 15%, some numbers that I've seen. Need to also point out, every military on planet Earth has a problem with white supremacists who join it. With that said, is Zelensky a military leader right now? Is he supposed to bench the Azov battalion, one of his most effective battalions, because some white liberal on Twitter has a problem with their freaky SS style logo? Change that shit, please. No. Fact is, the Azov battalion, they kick so much ass out there, it's ridiculous, okay? These guys are the real deal Holyfields. And if I was Zelensky, I'd be, they'd be the tip of the spear for me as well. You as a leader, you have to prioritize, effectiveness versus everything else. So I don't begrudge Zelensky, but I do admit, I don't know, change the logo, please. Can we just, we do rebrands all the time in the West, okay? If you want to, you want to get more Western friendly, do a rebrand. Do a rebrand on the Azov Battalion. Come on. Ain't going to hurt you. Ain't going to hurt nobody. Change the logo. Give everybody some new patches. We're good to go. We're good to go. Just, oh, God, it's so uncomfortable. I hate that logo. Greg, I mean, I don't know, man. There's just always seems to be more rednecks. Ukraine at war by the sun. There's just always more. There's just always more. I don't know what to say, man. So the Ukrainians are moving forward while Russia is hitting its own trench line with drones and mortars. Artillery, probably. But this guy's looking around. See what I mean about looking up? He's looking around for these Russian drones. Born in America, currently living in Canada. Does that disqualify me from having an opinion? So there's a fucking drone flying around. They're taking shots at it. Yes. Okay. Well, fuck you. I mean, is there any point in having any kind of discussion at this point? Should I just ban you and say fuck you and then move on with my life? I mean, I appreciate you being as honest as you're being. But is there anything more that needs to be said between us? Right? Because everything I have to say about the subject is disqualified, according to you, right? Fuck you. That's the video. The video is me saying fuck you. It's fuck you, flying man, the video. Do you like watching it? I can't get enough of these. Fuck the flying man videos. Wild hair. Remove the stream. 1,310 subs agree. What? Who's mod? What? Watch your tongue and tone, sir. No. How about fuck you? How about welcome to the fucking toilet? How about welcome to the toilet? Remove the stream. Who's this mod? I have a mod I've never heard of before. Is this like a Twitch mod? Am I in trouble? Usually they just ban me. They usually don't warn me in the chat if they don't like what I'm doing. There's no corpses. I promise you, there's no corpses in this video. I promise you. Whoa, I think that's a drone going off. But pretty wild. You could hear his reaction because maybe he wasn't even hit with shrapnel, but the concussion wave, it hurts. Apparently really hurts. I've never experienced it myself, but I think that's his reaction there. I don't even think he was hit with anything. Oh. Scary shit. Scary shit. Once again, I need to point this out. There's no video game that has ever even remotely gotten close to simulating a real gunfight. I understand why, guys who've been in real gunfights, they think video games are for children. Because there's no Arma, Tarkov, none of those games comes even close to simulating what a real gunfight feels like, you know? It's one of those things. It's like golf. You just have to be there to enjoy it. I'm kidding. I love video game golf. NES Golf is a masterpiece. All right, then you get it. More buildings blowing up. If you want to watch the rest of Ukraine absolutely spanking the Russian military every single day, go ahead and click this link right there.
CNN obtaining.
So here's this video I'm telling you about. So the CNN blurs everything out. They don't show anybody getting murdered, right? They pause and freeze before showing any of the extremely graphic stuff. With that said, this is still a graphic situation to be witnessing. But what we're seeing are Ukrainian soldiers who, unfortunately, are being captured. That it happens. As much ass as Ukraine kicks, a battlefield. This is a battlefield reality. Sometimes you're just caught ass out. You could be Rambo. You could be the baddest motherfucker on planet Earth, who's done nothing but kick ass his entire life, and you too could be caught up in this scenario, right? Doesn't make you a coward, doesn't make you less effective, right? It's just this is what happens on the battlefield. What Russia has started to do, this is actually not started, I should say, what Russia has been doing for quite some time, at least since the beginning of this year, but probably going even further back, is they've been who's the commander? Who's the commander here? Who's the person that has any kind of intelligence that we could get after, once we torture you? Who has actual information? Everyone else, not a guarantee. So they pick the commander out, pull him away to be tortured, and then they just summarily murder the Ukrainians. This is, of course, massive war crime, like it fucking matters, right? But this is what Russia. This is how Russia does it, right? Ukraine. The only time Ukraine shoots unarmed prisoners is when one of the prisoners decides to get smart, pulls a weapon that they were hiding, or tries to be a Rambo, and it's actually not against the Geneva Conventions to then kill everybody. So there's footage of Ukrainians killing unarmed prisoners only after one of them decides to be Rambo and decides to do something crazy. Countless videos of Ukrainian professionals taking Russian prisoners as more than this. They'll have a gaggle of 10, trotting them down the road there, to get to a point where they could be picked up. There's a clear difference, is what I'm trying to say, is that Russia is killing POWs way more than Ukraine is. And like I said, the videos that I've seen of Ukraine killing POWs, it's in a way that's protected by the Geneva Conventions, as horrific as that sounds. But that is what I've observed so far. Let's watch the video. It's pretty tragic, but this is what's happening to Ukrainians on the front line. And honestly, when I see stuff like this, it makes me feel more bad for the Russian military. Okay, because what does this teach the Ukrainians? Don't fight to the last man. Don't allow yourself to be taken prisoner, because you're just going to be shot in the back of the neck like a dog by a 19-year-old, who had 6 minutes of training and a bottle of vodka, and now he gets to fucking end your life with ease because you thought these guys were going to follow the Geneva Conventions, only if it's convenient, only if they have the logistical ability to get you out of there. If they don't, they just fucking murder you. So what does that tell Ukrainians? Fight until the last breath, because they're going to murder you anyway. Or if you're a commander, you're going to get your ass tortured for hours. And I'm not talking electric or tickle torture, okay? I'm talking they peel chunks of skin off your body. And there's video. Okay, I'm talking horrific stuff that they do to your genitalia. There's video. So what does this say to your average Ukrainian soldier? Because they get to see this stuff, unlike Russia. Unlike Russian troops who don't, they get a media blackout. They don't get to see this stuff. They get access, but they have to seek it out. And they get in trouble if they get busted with it. In Ukraine, soldiers are shown these videos. It's a massive mistake for the Russian military. Massive mistake.
Exclusive radio intercepts and drone video. Together, they appear to show Russian forces executing a group of Ukrainian soldiers who had just surrendered. See those bodies there? It comes as a ceasefire appears to be even further away after Trump's 2-hour call with Vladimir Putin. Nick Payton Walsh is out front tonight with this investigation. I want to warn you, it does include graphic video.
Before even this moment of surrender, the fate of these 6 Ukrainian troops was sealed. Ukrainian drone images from the southern front last November show the horror that comes after defeat. A Russian hiding in the bushes shoots one Ukrainian in the head. Ukrainian officials gave CNN intercepts of Russian radio orders from their commanders to their troops here. We can't verify them independently, but they help paint a chilling picture of what appear to be executions to order.
And they intentionally leave the bodies out in the open, right? So Ukrainian troops can see it. It's a medieval style. Like I said, they think it's supposed to scare a Ukrainian. And it let me tell you, seeing how your average Ukrainian fights, I can't help but think that videos like this don't help the Russians.
Of a plan to kill prisoners given from above. The Russian in the bushes seems to fit a mask and then emerge. He's joined by another Russian. They talk. There's no visible threat from their prisoners. And one captive Ukrainian seems to gesture at them. But nothing changes his fate, shot in the head, calmly. Another Ukrainian gets up, presumably the commander,
right on the back
and takes
of
off his armor. But the voice on the radio is impatient.
Kill him, kill them all, kill them all.
Is led away. In total, 6 times the order to kill was given, according to The Intercepts.
A forensic study for CNN, the files and audio, found no reason they weren't authentic, and a Western intelligence official described them to us as, quote, credible. We've geolocated the footage of the killing to this tree line just outside of Novodarivka in Zaporizhia region, where fierce fighting raged late last year. Ukrainian prosecutors say the executions of surrendering Ukrainian troops by Russians are increasing. They say they opened 8 cases in all of 2023, 39 for all of last year, and in just the first 4 months of this year, 20.
It's a well-coordinated and well-planned policy. And execution of prisoners of war, as well as other war crimes which have been committed in Ukraine, I think that goes up to the President of Russian Federation.
Another video supplied to CNN by a Western intelligence official shows a similar scene, also from Zaporizhia. Ukrainians are surrounded and surrendering to Russians with red tape on their helmets. But 2 others join them, white tape on their helmets. They appear to use their radios. And then a white helmet opens fire. As the smoke clears,
Yeah, real
a red
badass.
reloads his weapon and shoots another Ukrainian in the head.
Real
There's no
badass.
radio intercept
Yeah.
here, but a Western intelligence official
Monsters.
told CNN the order to kill likely came from the white to the red. Killings aimed at hitting Ukrainian morale, but also, cynically, just at easing Russian logistics. A stark window into Moscow's mindset. Surrender means nothing, and mercy is not an option.
So there you go. There you fucking go. Both sides, both sides. Zelensky's not the legitimate leader. What about nuclear war? Shouldn't we be afraid of nukes? Shouldn't we just give up? I know what I'm saying benefits the narrative of the Kremlin, but I am not a Russian propagandist. No. Tim Pool over here making these same exact arguments while cashing checks from the fucking Kremlin. I'm not corrupt. I'm not a shill. We got a little bit here from Michael Douglas Clark, whatever his name is. He's all right. He's not great, but he's all right. What's his name? Oh, yeah, Michael Clark. Yeah.
In the last couple of days, we've seen more strikes on Ukraine. I think the largest drone strikes as well by Russia on Ukraine.
Yeah, last night, 273 drones and decoys, according to the Ukrainian Air Ministry, which their figures are normally pretty accurate. Certainly in those numbers.
In the last couple of days,
figures are normally pretty accurate. Certainly in those numbers, they say that they downed or neutralized 200 of them. We don't know. That might be an overestimate, but certainly quite a lot got through. And the previous day, there was this attack on a bus that was they just say in the northeast, because they won't specify it too much, because it was...
I've been banned. Shit, I've been banned. Yep. No, they got me. Yep. Damn. That's such a shame. That's such a shame that they're able to weaponize the reporting like that. No. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see. I mean, who knows? Sometimes they're really cool about it. Other times they're like, you're banned for a straight month. I mean, God damn it. Even though I label my shit as news, all that. Yeah, Twitch account been temporarily suspended. Yeah, death or extreme injury media. Right, yeah. It was all censored. Yeah, it was all censored. We all saw it. All censored. Doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Censored. They don't want you talking about it. That sucks. All right. Well, that's all I got for today then, I guess. Thank you for being here. Sorry about that. Such a bummer. Yeah, because it's like people don't want to fucking come to Kick. They don't want to, I'm not Destiny. What's the Discord? Here, I'll give you an invite to the Discord. One sec. The bastards keep winning. The bastards just keep winning. There's an invite right there. It's not even the first time. This is at least the second time I think we've been, falsely reported. It doesn't matter how much censorship you show. The only way to be really safe is to just not talk about it. But yeah, it's disappointing when bad actors are able to, lie to robots. It's a shame. Maybe that mod message was real. Let me double check. I can't now. I can't log in. But what was that mod message? See if I can find it here. See, It sucks. That's how it is, We don't have control over these. They get to control however they want it, and ideally, they don't want you talking about politics at all. Let's see here. I'm just curious what this. Maybe that mod message was real. Because it didn't seem. It wasn't like a warning. It was weird. See if I can find it here. No, I can't. I can't search within the chat. Sucks. Let's see here. And it's like the mods are working to we see this with Twitch. No, that we see this with Israel. We see this with a lot of other topics where the oligarchy, by banning discussion, by banning showing what's really happening, they benefit. They provide cover, for these bad actors, right? It's a shame. It's quite a shame, but it works. Works really well. Yeah, I can't see it. Well, doesn't matter. Wasn't a mod message that I could tell, just normal text with a mod in it. Yeah? All right. It doesn't really matter because, it's all it takes. I got 9 viewers on Kick. I do appreciate that. People coming in. They'd like to see me finish. Had to get a pizza and missed it. What happened? Yeah. So obviously I gotta contest it, blah, blah, blah. I gotta go through the whole Twitch. How do I do this? Twitch, contest, banning. There's a thing I gotta click on. There's appeals. Yeah, here it is. All right, I gotta do that off stream. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you for coming. I do appreciate it. Have a good one. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. We can't allow them to defeat us, right? We got to keep continuing. They're gonna the fascists are gonna continue to beat us down. They're gonna continue to pound us. They're gonna continue to be bad actors. They're gonna continue to lie, and and all this in the service of an invasion of another country. Can you imagine that? I was banned. I was banned defending the sovereignty of another country. But that's just how these things work. It's a shame. It's a shame, but that's how it goes. You win some and you lose some, but as long as you stand back up and fight another day, that's really the most important thing here. But I can't tell you when I'll be back in terms of on Twitch. Sometimes it's within a few days. Other times it is months long, and I've been banned a few times already. So that matters, when you're banned. So I have no idea when I'll be back. But, hey, take care of yourself, everybody. I'll be back when Twitch will let me back. How come you don't continue streaming on Kick? Well, I don't know. Maybe I will if it gets bad enough. But I hate this platform. I hate Kick. It's not as good as Twitch in terms of viewers, It's even more pointless to do it on. If I have to depend on Kick, I might as well direct my political activism energy in other directions, etc., etc. So I'll think about it, but, sorry to disappoint you, everybody. Have a good day. We'll get